Yes, welcome to BPM. Today I got a very special guest, Matthew Stapley. Welcome to the show, BPM, Blackopolypse.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's an honor. Now the honor's all mine. Obviously, like I said, I've read your biography, and I just want to know one thing:
Sure.
What's next week's lottery numbers?
Oh man.
That's all I need to know. That's all
Have
I need to
you
know.
have you ever met a rich psychic Alstallio? I don't think we exist, unfortunately.
Actually, see, that's the thing. We had a psychic in the, not in the family, like kind of a friend of the family. He claimed to be a psychic. He was actually pretty good, to be fair. He knew a lot of stuff, and he always told us, like, because we say, yeah, give us the lottery numbers. What he would say, he could only pull up 3 numbers, and we would have to figure the rest. And I was like, can't you just give us like 5, and I could think of one? Because I'd use every combination now. I put 5, and I just put like 10 tickets on, and or 50 tickets, and I win. But no, couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I tried once. It was unsuccessful.
Really?
Very. Yeah, I thought if I could win the lottery, then I could make huge donations to things, and that would be kind of cool, right? No.
No, that's what I always feel like. I feel like the gods just don't seem to understand me. I'm like, guys, you give me the money and I'll make sure everything's right on on this planet. But right now, you're giving it to the wrong people. Clearly, yeah.
No, I can understand that frustration sometimes. I think that it seems like a lot of the time the people who really need like the hand up are the ones that don't seem to receive it, and it is really unfortunate. I totally get what you mean for sure.
Yeah, I'm annoyed about that. But actually, another important thing happened yesterday. I give piano lessons,
Oh, cool.
and I went to one of my students, and her dad has just made a board, Arcana's like esoteric with like numerology and all these
Wow.
cards, these tarot cards.
Yeah.
And then there's the is it the diversity card? No, the divine cards, wisdom
Okay.
cards, spiritual cards, all this stuff. And then obviously I read in your biography that you created 2 oracle decks.
Yeah, 2 oracle decks and a tarot deck.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is crazy that happened yesterday, but that happened like basically yesterday on the off chance. So it's funny that now I've got you on the show, and I looked again at your biography. I was like, what the? Something's happening. So
You know, it's cool that you say that actually, because I think a lot of the time in life we do see crazy synchronicities like that,
mm,
and I think sometimes they can kind of, like veer us in one direction or another, or just support our experiences and let us know, like, okay, maybe we are where we're supposed to be for right now, or whatever. So I totally get it. I think I've lived my life based on those synchronicities a lot of the time myself.
yeah, and that's why I'm like just in shock at the moment. Like maybe this was the message. This was it. Because I actually asked her because he made the board, and I thought he was really fascinating. I was like, who makes board games? He's the
Yeah.
first guy, 38 years on the planet. It's the first guy I've ever met who makes board games. But apparently online, there's a whole community of people who are
Yeah.
creating board games. I
Oh,
don't know.
hugely. Yeah. I'm a board game like fanatic myself. I
Really?
love board games. Oh man, like big time. So man, I'm a little jealous, Alstallio, that you got to meet like a board game creator. I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
met one before.
Yeah, and this game was really complex as well. It basically gave you a tarot reading, basically. Told you,
Wow.
yeah, you was able to pull 3 cards. I pulled the Hierophant,
Okay. Yeah.
the Sun,
Okay.
and the Strength card.
Those are some good cards.
There's some really good. I was
There's
like,
some great
I'm
cards.
feeling good. I feel like my future's set now. I just have to sit back and wait.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, do you know what positions like the card sort of came out in? Like if like, the card number 1 is supposed to mean like the past, and the
Yeah,
card
yeah.
number 2 is the
Hierophant
present.
came first. I actually told you the position that came out. So Hierophant,
Yeah.
then the Sun,
Okay.
then Strength. So that was the position that came
That's
out in. So the
cool.
past, the present, and the future. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like,
So that's cool. So you've broken some big boundaries, or it's like major barriers then, because the Hierophant usually in the past is about like traditions and like things being a certain way and all of that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the Sun card is a really positive card. It means like growth and expansion.
yeah,
But those two things are kind of like almost in opposition if you think about it, because we can't really expand within
yeah,
something rigid like tradition. So this is saying that
exactly.
you've broken out of an entire way of being, which is cool. And then the strength card is one of my favorite cards because traditionally it's like a woman who's got her hand in a lion's mouth,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
and so the lion isn't trying to bite the woman, and the woman isn't trying to hurt the lion either. So it's actually about self-containment and like
Yeah.
being strong and using our mind to overcome our like internal struggles and urges and all of that. So I think you're going to do some pretty big things in your life, especially with the sun card. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I feel like it is too. I actually said that the song when it came out, I was like, the sun seems to represent me. That's my card. I'm the sun. That's what I feel like anyway. Not God's son or anyone, but
What's
I
your
just feel like this.
zodiac sign out of
I'm,
curiosity?
can you guess it?
Oh man, you do not want me to guess anything on a Saturday, but I'm curious. The reason why I'm asking is the sun rules Leo. So if you're
Yeah.
like a Leo or a
Mm,
fire sign, then it could make a lot of sense. And in like an additional way, but it definitely doesn't, it's not dependent on that on any level. I was
yeah.
just curious because you kind of remind me of a bit of a lion in a really cool way. Lions represent majesty, right? And
Yeah.
being able to shine and
Uh,
lead people and guide people and things like that. So you definitely carry that vibe, which I think is really cool.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last guy who came, one of the a few episodes ago, he said I was a Leo too. It's
Yeah.
weird. The thing is, I'm actually two zodiacs over from a Leo, so I'm a Libra.
Okay. Well, actually, so Libra, this is going to get very complicated. But
Right?
Libra, I believe, I'm not an astrologer, but I think Libra is ruled by Venus, I'm pretty sure. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of similarities in terms of like expression and the way that like Leos are very loving and loyal. So are Libras because
Yeah.
they carry a very similar energy in that way. Again, not an astrologer, so don't shoot me if I'm wrong. But I have a friend who's an astrologer and she explained something along those lines to me at one time.
That's my next guest. I'm gonna have to put her on, let her out. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to anyway. The last couple of days. So I'm really happy to have you on. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So I've been eating all the minutes.
That's okay because what you're talking about is super cool. Well, I have no idea where to start. I'm in Canada.
No.
My life work is to help people to kind of like make sense of things. So whether
Mm,
that's through mediumship and communicating with people who have passed away, or whether that's through like just helping people to understand their experiences from a different angle, because
mhm,
I believe nothing is all bad, right? Even the hardest things, there's something within them that we can use on some level. And so
mhm.
my sort of life mission, I guess you could call it, is to help people to understand their relationship with the universe and
Yeah.
all of the good, the bad, and the ugly that they might come across on their path.
Okay.
And other than that, I like addicted to the Golden Girls, and I like board games and painting.
Wait. Is that the Golden Girls from back in the day?
Oh yeah, like
That's
the
sitcom.
80s.
Oh,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, pretty cool. It's fun. Do you know that they performed an episode for the Queen once at her
really?
request? Yeah, at her request, they flew to England and they performed an entire episode just for her and her mom.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But my sister used to love that anyway. So too, I remember that we used to suffer through it. I was like, oh no, not this show. I think it was actually didn't have to have like this. I always call it this fake laughter behind.
Yeah, they totally have a significant amount of that for
I can't.
sure.
Friends too. I just can't stand it. I remember having an ex-girlfriend, many moons ago, and she used to watch it, and I'd be half asleep, and I'd be hearing this laughter. I'd be like, "Shut up!" I think Will and Grace had it as well. I think she used to watch that a lot. Terrible.
Oh man, that was a good show. I loved Will and Grace, the original Will and Grace,
Yeah.
mostly because of Karen though. She's hilarious.
Actually, I think I watched all of it. Actually, yeah. Now, to think of it. Okay, so yeah. So how do you heal? Like you're a healer.
Yeah,
Let's go a little bit deeper into the healing
sure.
aspect. How do you heal somebody?
That's a good question.
I,
And I don't know that the healer's the one doing the healing, to be honest. I think calling us healers is maybe even a misnomer in the sense because really we're facilitating somebody's process, right? So, like at an energetic level, like at a spiritual level, like we're holding space for that person to have somewhat structured experience with the
Mhm.
universe or with divinity or whatever, so that they can let go of things, unearth things within themselves or whatever.
Okay.
So it's kind of like facilitation of healing. Now, I think that every single person on the planet has the ability to connect with the universe in this way. I
Yeah.
really do believe that, because if you think about it, like every cell of our body has some kind of enigmatic spark, right? That keeps us
Yeah.
all alive. And I think that spark is in communication with the entire universe 24/7. I think
Mhm.
the only difference between somebody like me, who's a medium, and somebody who hasn't learned to access it, or wasn't born with it switched on, is just that I can hear the conversation and other people may not, but that doesn't mean they can't learn how to.
Okay. Um, when did you discover that you're a medium? Because I remember sorry, just quickly before, when I was
Sure,
young,
yeah.
I used to could see some stuff. I used to could predict some stuff. I've lost the ability. I don't know. It just kind of shut off. Like you
Yeah.
said, at some age, I was just like, okay, that's it. It's gone. But I still have a
Probably
lot of like,
around 8 usually is when
yeah,
it will
yeah,
turn off. Yeah.
yeah. I have a lot of deja vus now. And I'll tell you one thing. Like, I feel like I've previewed my whole life already. Because there's always points in my life where I'm like, okay, I remember seeing this when I was little, for example. So I'm on the right path. And it just happened to me a couple of days ago. I was giving a piano lesson. I was like, oh, okay, I've been in this house before. So I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar to you that this happens?
Yeah, totally. And I think it's actually something that a lot of people experience, which is cool. Like a lot of people have often wondered what deja vu actually is, right?
Mm.
And so if you look at it from like a neuropsychological perspective, they're like, oh, basically it's like a chemical thing. If you
Mm.
look at it from like a spiritual perspective, a lot of people believe that it means that you're exactly where you're meant to be. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like the synchronicity thing again, right? Things
yeah,
coming into an alignment. I think it's both personally. I think it's a chemical thing, but that doesn't mean that it's not also on some level miraculous
mm.
at the timing that it's happening. Yeah, so that definitely I can understand. For me, mediumship came at a very young age. I remember my first experience being at 8 years old, but according to my mom and family members, it really started before that, when I
Yeah.
was like 2 or 3. Yeah. And so for me, my dad was in Thailand on business, and I
Okay.
was here in Canada. And he called to say hi to me and my mom and my brother. And I got on the phone with him, and I just remember saying, "Oh my God, Dad, what are those big teeth sitting beside you on the table?" And he
Mhm.
said, "Elephant tusks. How did you know that they were there?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "Well, can you see anything else?" And so I described the room he was sitting in, and it freaked him right out. Like he was just totally freaked out. And then I said, "Oh, and outside there's a fountain." And he said, "No, there's no fountain outside." And I said, "Yeah, I can hear it." He said, "Matthew, even if there was a fountain, I'm inside with the door closed, you wouldn't be able to hear it." And I said, "No, go check, Dad. I can hear the fountain." So he went outside, and he was looking around, and he said, "No, there's no fountain." And I said, "Dad, it's by the wall that has the lizards on it." And he said, "Okay." So he went over to this near this wall, and there was like this little tiny trickling brass fountain about that big. Uh, and it wasn't making any sound, even standing beside it. So that was like the first kind of big experience. And then apparently, I remember him saying, "Put your mom on the phone for a minute." And I apparently, he had said, "Go find the most expensive psychiatrist money can buy because this is unbelievable." And that was
Really?
just sort of where it started because it freaked him right out. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. That's like goosebump stuff, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely weird for sure.
yeah, that's weird. That's even for me. I'm thinking, okay, this is what's behind this whiteboard here. Are you in here right now?
No, no, you don't have to worry about that at all.
uh,
I think those are like isolated experiences.
okay, okay. Did you? How did you nurture it? Did you? Was he able to nurture it or?
Kind of, yeah. I did it without even realizing it, I think, because
Mm.
so that was when I was 8. When I was 11, I was sleeping at night, and all of a sudden I got woken up to my grandfather's voice, and he passed away like years before that.
Okay.
And he scared the crap out of me. So I remember running into my mom's room, and I said, "Oh, Grandpa won't leave me alone. Tell him to leave me alone." And she said, "Yeah, okay." I told him to go back to bed because it was like 4 in the morning. And I was like, okay. So I went back and lied down, started falling asleep, and he was there again. And I saw him sitting on the end of my bed. And he said, "I want you to tell your mom this, and your grandmother this, and your aunt this. And by the way, this is why your uncle is estranged, and he's going to come back in 10 years." And I said, "Okay, cool. Good night, goodbye." And he disappeared. And then the next day, my grandmother and my mom we were all visiting, and they said, "Okay, so you had a visitor last night. Did he tell you anything?" So I started relaying all of these messages. and they were freaked out because it was things that there was no way me at 11 years old would know about the family. And then, so with that prediction of my uncle, who was estranged, coming back in 10 years, he showed up on my mom's driveway, like right, like 10 years from the
Really?
time of that visitation. Yeah. So after
That's
that, it just
crazy.
kind of continued to build, and I got tarot cards when I was like 13. And they just stayed in my closet for like 2 years or something. And
Mhm.
then I was getting ready for school one morning, and a voice said, "Bring the cards." And I fished them out of the closet, and I thought, well, this is like 72 cards or 78 cards in this deck.
Yeah.
How am I going to learn this before lunchtime? Right. And a voice said, "Well, throw the book away. You won't need it." So I went to school and I asked a girl in the library if I could do a reading for her, and she said yes. So I didn't know anything about tarot. I didn't know how to use them, but I shuffled them and I put them on the table, and I just started looking at the cards, and it was like they were telling me a story. So I
Mhm.
was just relaying what I was getting, and she started crying, and it was all, made sense with things that were happening at home. And
Okay.
then around that same time, I started seeing colors around people randomly. And I had a friend who came from a very spiritual family, and he taught me how to interpret aura colors.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like that sort of nurturing over time without realizing it. And then it became my work when I was 18. I was asked to do readings for a family reunion of
Yeah.
people. And so I did. And then all of a sudden, people from all over the province, started calling my parents' house wanting to come get
Yeah.
readings. And it just took off.
That's whoa. That's mind blowing. With the tarot cards, is it true that only you should touch the deck?
I'm not the most superstitious person, honestly. I think it's kind of a very personal thing. I will be the first one to hand someone a deck of my tarot cards and say go for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very particular about it.
Yeah.
I'm honestly not. I think that, like, if there's going to be something terrible that happens, well, I don't think it's going to be from handing a deck of tarot cards to somebody else. Personally, I'm not that dramatic, I don't think.
Okay. uh, okay. Can you remote view then as well?
Yes. Yeah, that was
Oh,
that was the example of but I'll tell you when I can remote view, because those are two different things. So remote viewing is exactly what happened when I was 8 with my dad in Thailand. That's an example of
okay.
remote viewing. For me now, so I do live readings on Facebook, on my Facebook page, for free every Monday. And when
Okay.
somebody's spirit guides come forward, spirit guides are not loved ones, they're different. And so they can't really give us evidence about who they were on earth, because there's no way to validate it, right?
Mhm.
So what they'll do is they'll show me exactly what the person is doing, where they're sitting, and what their surroundings look like at the time that they hear the message.
Okay.
And so it's kind of interesting to me to get the feedback on it, because I'm only bringing things through, but then
Okay.
I'll get like emails or people write in the chat at the time saying, "Oh my God, that's me. The room I'm sitting in looks exactly like that." So it happens in those instances, but it's not something that I really can make happen necessarily.
That's awesome, man. Spirit guide. So I don't know. Do you have any freaky experiences when you contact a spirit guide? It's like, someone comes like, "I want to kill you later."
No,
No,
thank
that's
thank
nothing.
God.
Oh,
No, not from spirit guides, because if you look at what they are, right, their job is
they're
to
guides to guide people.
to guide, to help us to figure out our life, right? So it would be kind of counterproductive. But have I seen haunting, scary, paranormal crap? Absolutely. Like, I have stories that I wouldn't even believe if I hadn't have been there to see it happen.
All
Like,
right, give
there's
us one.
it's
Give us one.
okay. I'll give you. Okay,
Or give us two then.
I'll give you two, because there's
Yeah.
two really good ones. So one happened in this room that I'm sitting in years ago. This is my office, and I was home alone completely, and it was wintertime, and I was getting ready because a client was coming. So I came
Yeah.
in here and I lit the candle, my candles, and I put on some incense, and I went upstairs just to change my shirt, and I heard this big scraping sound. So back then, my desk was over there, and then
Mhm.
with my chair behind it, and then two chairs sitting in front of the desk. So everything was kind of far from this door here. And
Yeah.
so I heard this scraping sound, and I thought it was a snowplow outside, because they make a similar sound. And when I came downstairs, I went to open this door, and I, wasn't looking. I just opened it, and I hit a chair. And I was like, what the hell? And I looked in my office, everything, the desk, the table, my chair, and the other two chairs had all moved over by like 2 feet. simultaneously. And that was that scrape sound. And all of that happened in under 2 minutes because I just went upstairs, changed my shirt, and came right back down. So all of that moved by itself. I was the only one in the house simultaneously. Now, the coolest part about it is that client, when they came, was telling the reason they came, I found out after I did the reading, was because things in their house were moving by themselves, like furniture.
Oh,
And
okay.
had that not just happened to me, I wouldn't have believed her. I would have thought she was crazy. So I think it happened to me so that I would believe her. And it happened minutes before she arrived. It was crazy.
That's good.
So
Maybe a spirit, a poltergeist followed there and said, okay, I'm going to show you too because you're one of us.
Yes. And I'm going to help, you know, like, and basically I was able to help her like clear her space, but it was a very intense.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, but not as scary as the second story.
What? I'm not going to hear the second one anymore.
It is way freakier. Oh my God. It was one of the scariest things ever. It was the most haunted house I've ever been in. And it was a brand new house. That's the craziest part about it. Brand new.
How does a brand new, is that when he's buried on a sacred site or something? Or?
It could be. In this case, it wasn't that at all. It was that when the houses were built, it was a housing development. When they were built, some really shady things happened with the earth itself. So they didn't follow proper protocols, I guess, or something like that to build the houses. So they just didn't care for the lands. The land itself was haunting this house. And I only know that because we called in shamans to try and figure out what it was, because it was so unusual and so unbelievably haunted. I've never seen anything like it. So there was 3 of us in a paranormal investigation. We're called sensitives, not mediums. And so there was 3 sensitives and then a technical team and then the research people. So we went in the house and, you know, we're not really allowed to talk to each other. We're given like notepads basically. And so we're walking around doing our thing. And when, you know, the parents were in the house, the kids were in the house playing in the living room, we did our walkthrough, went outside, we started having a cigarette with the parents. And I said, so are your, how old are your sons? And then the other sensitive said, yeah, are they twins? And the parents just shook their head and they said, everyone sees 2 kids. We only have 1 son. And then they said, but let me show you a picture. And so they brought up this picture from Christmas, and the little boy is like standing in front of like this entertainment unit that has glass doors on it. And he's standing there with his present and he's super excited. Instead of his reflection being the back of him, it's him facing forward, which is impossible, right? It's creepy. There was 2 of him when it should have shown his back. So that was the first moment where I was like, this house is not cool. Like there's something super sketch here, right? So then later we're setting up all the equipment and the cameras, and all of a sudden we could smell this god awful burning smell. Like it was so gross. Like a fleshy kind of, it was really gross.
Oh man.
And then I saw one of the technical team members get thrown down a hallway, not pushed, not knocked, thrown down the hallway by nothing. And that is the most haunted house I've ever been in. And there was footage from when we were trying to clear the house where you could see in the infrared cameras these balls of lights showing up out of nowhere and swirling around us. So it was probably the most intense investigation I've ever been a part of, and definitely the one that shook me to the core. I think I was about 20 or 21 when I did that one, and it freaked me right out.
That is really freaky. Could that be a case of, you know, when like sometimes they say when twins, like when the parents conceive a baby and then maybe one of the eggs dies, but apparently the spirit grows together anyway with the twin. Do you think it could have been that? Or
I think that it could have been that for sure. But the other thing that, if I'm remembering correctly about that house, is people would also hear like their name being called by other people in the house when there was nobody there. Like the husband could be home alone and hear his wife call him, but she's not there. Things like that. So it could have been that, or it could have just been whatever was around kind of mimicking things, which is a kind of a fairly common paranormal phenomenon, believe it or not.
Okay. I hope you've got like a window where a car goes past and you see a light, because I just saw something shoot across the screen. I was like,
it probably was a car. I'm like right in front of the window. So
good.
It's daytime, but the sun is over there and the road is right there. So totally possible.
I'm scared, man. I'm scared. Okay. The next thing I want to ask you is evidence of speaking to people who have passed on.
Yeah.
So you can Like, because I'm like, I'm a skeptic. I don't know. I do believe in.
You should be. Everybody should be.
I think I believe in. I used to believe a lot in ghosts. I've always been a spiritual guy. I've always loved ghost stories and interested about this, but I've never ever seen one. It's like aliens too. Actually, no, then again, I did see a flying saucer once when I was in New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But ghosts, I've never really seen. Then again, now come to think of it, there was one time when I used to live in a house and I used to always hear footsteps and I'd always be like, hey, I keep hearing footsteps downstairs. And I think my mum said, I don't know if that's the same house, but she said she saw an old lady too.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, okay, we're gonna leave this house. We're gonna.
No, I understand that. And that's actually like something that a lot of people experience. But I think honestly, Alstallio, I think skepticism is incredibly important. I'm even skeptical. And I know that sounds probably weird to you, but I actually very much am. And all of my like formal educational background's all science-based. It's all health sciences, right? And so I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm a see it to believe it person. And even when I'm working, like if the evidence doesn't hit home with my client, I don't, like I just tell them, okay, we'll keep your money and go see somebody else then.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of the same way. I think it's important because there are a lot of times where people are gullible because they're in a desperate state. And I think it's important for anybody who's going to delve into, like readings or paranormal stuff or whatever, to take it with a big grain of salt, first of all, but second of all, really make sure the proof is there. Otherwise you're just vulnerable, and that's not cool. So when you said you're skeptical, I'm actually happier to hear that than to say that I believe everything that I come across.
Especially because I remember like my friends used to tell me that they saw ghosts and stuff, but now I still know them people and I hear them what they say and I'm like, this guy was full of crap back then. He's still the same now, That's what made me a lot more like, okay, I didn't believe anything he said back then. So but I do believe some, we're not the only ones here.
No, I don't think we are either. I agree. And I think you have your own gifts, by the way. As I'm talking to you, I can see a few things happening in your aura as you're talking about being able, your past experiences. They're good. They're not spirits that I'm seeing. It's just you have what I call a higher heart activation. So we have like different energy points in our body that sort of control different things, right? And so the higher heart is all about service. It's all about bringing, help to the world or help to people or whatever. Yours is starting to flicker when you're talking. So to me, this is saying that it is part of your path. You're kind of being called into helping the world in some way. I mean, I'm not surprised. You have this wonderful podcast, so kind of obvious, right? But they are showing you that. But then the other thing is underneath the bottom of your main heart energy point is a lot of green, and green in this particular shade to me represents healing, and specifically self-healing. That area of the energy field is the past, and it represents the things that we don't really like about ourselves, the things that we struggle with in terms of who we are. And what they're showing me that's healing in there is the need to apologize for who you are. And they're saying that this is something that you struggled with in the past. You're not struggling with it now, but that green that's there is about self-acceptance, which is really, really, really positive. So, I think you've got some gifts of your own that you're going to see develop.
Thanks. I mean, that probably relates to the fact that I feel like sometimes I messed up and I kind of regret that now because I'm like, why did I do that back then? But I do understand I never had the guidance either.
Totally.
So and that's why I'm kind of more like, Wayne, don't be so hard on yourself, or Alstallio, as you know me, and just get on with it now. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm just trying to get on with it.
Yes, and that's exactly what that green represents. It's that nurturing. If it was blue, it would mean more like healing coming from outside of you to help you with that. But green is like, in this shade, is very self-directed healing. So this is something that you're working on, but I'm telling you so that you can know that it's working, because that wouldn't be showing up if you weren't getting through it. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I want those gifts too, man. I love that.
You have them. You totally do. I really believe it. Yeah, you're empathic for sure, which means that you feel everything from the people.
Yeah, that's a huge issue though, I find.
It
because
it it's hard. You also there's a woman who's very connected to you, who's alive, who's older than you, that's going through some health things or just feeling like super exhausted. I can feel her energy around you, even though she's on Earth still and she's alive and
Mhm.
everything. It's somebody that either thinks of you a lot or you're connected with. If your mom is with us on Earth, that's
So
who I
my
would
mom,
place.
it's my mom,
That's who I
yeah.
would
It's
place
probably
this
my
as.
mom.
And I'm feeling very strongly. I hope you don't mind that I'm doing this for you,
Oh
by the
no, no,
way.
it's fine,
I
it's
should
fine.
have asked. So I'm feeling very strongly that it's important for her to sort of overcome her self-worth stuff as well, because she feels like she just wants to help everybody, but she's really bad at second guessing herself. I feel like it just never stops. And as I'm saying that, there's a woman coming forward who's passed on that is connected
Mhm.
to your mom, and she comes in as older than your mother. So this could be like a grandmother figure to
Yeah.
you or something like that. And when she passed away, I feel like it came on fairly quickly, although I think she had been unwell for about a year to a year and a half. But then in this last piece, I feel went downhill very fast. And it affected like heart, lungs, but also brain or mind, because I'm getting like lighting up in these both of these areas. And I
Uh,
feel like wherever she was from was a very small place, either a very small town, countryside, something like that. I can see
uh,
that. And I also feel that she had a side to her personality that was very, very heart centered and loving. But she also had this side that was so rigid, where I feel like she just wanted everybody to do exactly, this. Yeah, the things that she thought was right.
uh,
So whoever this is, she's apologizing to your mom, and the reason why is she says that she set this bar for your mother that was impossibly high,
mhm.
and your mother had difficulty with that on some level. And I think that may be where some of her worth issues come from. But this is something that she has the ability to heal if she can see herself in a kinder light. And I think she'll be able to do that.
Okay. The thing is, I can't pinpoint who that would be because, like, for example, my mom's mom died when when my mom was 10, so it could be
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
She had a stepmom who was pretty horrible to her. I don't know if she. I don't. My mom never speaks fondly of her, so I don't
Mm.
know if that could have been her telling her, "I'm sorry, I got it wrong."
Yes.
I think she died too, head injury. But she
So
said
it could be.
it could
It
be
could be
she's
because that would be that head part for sure.
she said um she said someone had hit her. I don't know,
Mm.
something. The story's a bit blurry, but something about someone hit her. I don't know how true that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, she passed on pretty quickly too. So I can only pinpoint these two people. I would have to ask mom. I'll get my mom to watch
Yeah.
this, and she'll probably know better than me.
So ask your mom. This is going to be a weird question, but this woman in spirit is showing me. This is like really going like old school, but you remember those old metal like bedpans that you would keep under a bed?
Yeah,
She's showing me that. So I have no idea where that could possibly fall into this situation, but you can ask your mom that if you want and see if
yeah,
she can recall either one of them having something like that. I don't think it was used. I think it was just there. And when I'm in your mom's shoes with this, I feel like it's weird that somebody would have that. So you can
mm,
ask her if she remembers as a child if either one of these women had something like that under her bed or under their bed or whatever. But I think the main part of this is just talking about your mom's ability to heal herself and
yeah.
also to take the pressure off her shoulders, because it feels like whatever this is that she carries has been inherited on some level. It's something that
Sure, sure. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. You're spot on. I tell you that. Really,
Thank
without
you.
going too deep in, I can tell you that you're
Of
spot
course.
on.
Yeah.
Really,
Oh,
that's
thank you.
amazing.
I appreciate that.
That's amazing. Okay, so unless you want to tell me some more stuff, I don't know, or can we move on?
Well, the only one other thing that I wanted to tell you, because it showed up when I was looking at your aura, is it's very, very, very important for you to embrace your empathic ability, in the
Mm,
sense of learning how to detach when you need to from the people that will be pulling at you, because I think you do have your own healing energy, you have your own ability to bring healing to people. And I think that because you're such a vibrant light, I would
mm,
be a little bit worried, because you're sensitive, of people constantly pulling you in a million directions. And the last message I have for you, in general, is just to trust your judgment on
yeah,
the work that you're doing, specifically with like your podcast or media or whatever, they're saying it's very important because you're going to get ideas from a million different, specifically two, but a million different people. And they're going to be opposing, and they're going to be all in good faith. Like they're going to be people wanting to help you, but you're the one that has the vision with this. I feel you're the one that has an idea of where to take this. And I feel like I wouldn't want you to be limited by anybody else's ideas. So that's the last kind of thing that I get. I think there's two guys around you that are really supportive, but they're going to start giving you all these ideas that seem opposing. And the message is for you to follow your heart with what to do. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But you're right about that as well, is because I try and help too many people. When I started this podcast, after there was like 4 of us, and like obviously it was going back and forth, and it was all, and the dynamics was completely off. So I started at the start of this year. I said to myself, you know what? Look, I'm going to go it alone. I'm not going to contact you guys anymore. I'm thank you for your service, but now I'm going to do it alone. I'm going to take it in a different direction and see where we can go with it, like that. You know, and if I need you guys, I'll call you or whatever. You're still welcome to come and join me anytime. But until then, don't call me, I'll call you.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing, because that kind of like, yeah, it goes in alignment with what the message was. So in the future, if people come back and they're trying to give you a lot of ideas or try to steer you in any direction, like follow your heart. Yeah,
definitely.
You're going to do well.
Thanks. So moving on. We're in a big, massive pandemic at the moment, a pandemic. COVID.
Yes.
Are you vaccinated?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Are you planning to get vaccinated?
I'm hoping to at some point.
Really?
At the moment, I actually have some of my own health issues. So I'm kind of in that weird, like, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should zone. Yeah, but who knows? Who knows?
So, see, the thing is, I'm a little bit, because I've been offered a vaccine. One of my piano students' mom's a doctor, and she said, look, I can fast track you and get you one. But I was basically like, you know, that's really nice, but also it goes back into my caring nature. I'm like, but I actually don't think I need it as much as other people who do need it. So shouldn't they go first before me? Also, there's the idea that, okay, do I trust the vaccine? Should I take it? Should I not take it? I don't know.
I'm kind of in that zone too, to be honest. And the only reason why is it's just so new. So nobody knows what the long-term effect. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer on any level. I'm like, if the chemicals are going to help, like, let's go get them, right? Like 100%. So, you know, for me, I'm just also a little nervous because it's so brand new. Like we only know the effects within 1 year, right? or less. So yeah, personally, I'm a little skeptical, not in their ability to work. I'm sure they work great, but in the potential long-term effects of the vaccines, especially especially with that. I'm nervous. Yeah,
me too. That's why I actually told the woman, I was like, look, you know, without it being properly studied, I put that into my body. So I think 2023, is the end of the first or the third trial or something. So once you get to that, then we can talk more. I'm like 2023, we can talk more. Yeah. But before then, I'm gonna keep pushing it down the road.
No, I totally understand that. It's not easy, you know. Like, and as human beings, I think that we can be extra nervous with new things. And yeah, I get it. I'm in the same boat. Totally.
Yeah. So what do you think? What does the future look like for, I don't know if you can tell, what does it look like for us as a society? Are we about to embark on a huge like change, or are we going to continue on this? Because I think the system that we're in now at the moment is self-destructive.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who want to hold on to that. And I'm like, don't you see that, you know, the way it's running, it's massively unfair. You know, there's so much poverty. There's people who go to war on a whim because of money or resources. Yeah. There's got to be a better way. So what do you see? Do you think
you and me have a really similar ideology in terms of how broken our system is, right? As a human race. No, I think that we will be brought lessons like COVID and like the fires in Australia and the Amazon and all of these things that have happened that are really terrible. I think we'll be brought these opportunities to change over and over and over again until we do. And I think that in some ways, the pressure to change will increase over time. So we didn't listen with the Amazon fires. We didn't listen with Australia fires. We didn't listen with war. We didn't listen with all these things. And so or earthquakes or all of these natural things. And so now we have a pandemic, and I don't know that we've really gotten it,
Yeah.
this time around, unfortunately. So I think we will at some point be brought another opportunity. And I think what it's about, personally, on some level at least, is about working together. I think it's about letting down all of these walls that we put up.
Yep.
And if you think about like the way the world functions, it functions on efficiency. Everything is how much can we get in a short amount of time. And there's no room in efficiency for emotional experiences. There's no room to be ourselves. There's no room to not be a number, right? And so when we're working with a world that's based on efficiency, but we're by nature emotional beings that require emotional vitamins from our environment, those two things don't play very well together. And I think you are absolutely right about things like poverty and war and all these really terrible things that are happening, in famine and all of that. I feel like something has to give at some point, and I think the universe will continue to provide us with these great opportunities.
I was
They
gonna
feel like
say
hell on earth, but whatever. Opportunities.
that's what I call it.
to make
I say
changes.
this is that's what I say. I say right now, when you read the Bible, if you want to delve into that direction, to me, what they're describing in the Bible is actually what we're living in reality. So there can't be a place worse than this. When you think about it, look, we're born, and from the moment we're born, we're in debt.
Yes.
Because we have to pay for food, we have to pay for water, we have to pay for a roof over our head. We have to, so we're in debt as soon as we're
Constantly.
born. And that just continues until we're old, and unless you get lucky.
It's true, I think, and the energy of debt is all about lack and enslavement, because it's about being without and also being tied to something. So, I mean, I think you've nailed it. I think those are the ties that bind, and it's very unhealthy. I really hope this world will shift into a better direction.
Yeah, me too. We just got to stay positive. What do you think about everyone turning to vegan? Are you a vegan or vegetarian?
No, I'm
not yet.
Definitely not.
Definitely not yet.
No. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, so we could look at it in a million different ways. Like at a health level, for certain people, it's wonderful and life-changing and life-saving. For other people, it may not be. Some vegan farming is very eco-friendly, sustainable. Some of it really isn't. It's actually terrible for the environment. So, I mean, it's not something I've thought a lot about, because I think it's in the realm of, if somebody's drawn to it, if it's helpful and healthy for them and it doesn't harm other people, then like giver, go for it. Me personally, I like the idea of it, but I don't know if I could do it in practice, to be honest.
But don't you care about the animals?
I love animals like so much. I do. And this is where I'm weird about it. Like I eat like eggs for breakfast, and I also have a pet bird, and I'm like terrified that the bird is going to see me eating scrambled eggs. So like, I totally get what you're saying, for sure. I do.
I mean, as long as it's not chicken, I guess.
Yeah, that too.
No, but I mean, I'm a vegetarian though, so I didn't quite. I was a vegan for 2 years, around 2 years, but I kept traveling, and it's weird, but you never expect it. Well, obviously, I do expect it, because in like Asia or Brazil, where they don't have much, well, they have a lot of food, but it's harder to come by, or Africa, they would never turn their nose up at something, But we in Europe, we're like, look, we got too much food, so I'm going to choose not to eat that.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit arrogant, isn't it, from us?
Well, I don't know. Like it's hard to say. I mean, I think, maybe there's an element of privilege to it, for sure, right? Like it's the same for me. It's like, oh, do I want like this, I don't know, like free range, eco-friendly water bottle, or like a glass of water? Like I do get what you're saying. I think there is an element of privilege to it, 100%. But I also, I also think if we're able to make a choice that feels better for us, then go for it. I also think that at the same time, we should all try to make sure everybody's is healthy and happy as possible in the world. But it is a tough balance. But I would say, because you're able to make the choice, then make it. Don't feel bad about it. I think from what I know about you in this last little while that we've been speaking, you're not somebody who's gonna, want to steal all the money in the world for
Oh
yourself.
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
I have a plan. And my plan is in the next 2 years, I need to make 100 million. Now, it's not because of material aim. Okay, I would like to have a Tesla, but that's not the most expensive car in the world. That
No.
I could probably afford that now. To be fair, a Tesla. So I'm not. It's not because I want to test that, but it's because I want to help more people. I want to bring people together. I want to put on, stuff that I can show. People.
I hope that you will, because I feel like if anyone would be able to spread that out in a really positive way for people, it would be you.
Yeah, no.
I would definitely want to do that, and I would do my best to do it. But I also know myself well enough to know that there would be so many Amazon boxes on my front lawn, at least for like a day. So yeah, I hope that you get the money. I hope you're the one to get it to help the world out of the two of us.
That's it. Okay, where are you from in Canada?
I'm from Ottawa, so the capital.
Okay, because I have family up into Canada, but you already knew that, I guess.
No, I didn't. Not that psychic.
Okay. I just always wanted to say that. That's why. Actually, I wanted to start the podcast today by saying I'm Alstallio, but you already knew that. I didn't get it in though. I got family in Toronto.
Okay. That's not far from here at all.
Yeah, I spent 2 months there a long time ago, actually, in 2004, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, sometime around then. Really nice place, but it was cold. Yeah. It was so cold. It was September, October, and I was like,
oh, that's not even the coldest time of year.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the worst thing. I'd never, been in England, and now I reside in Germany. Mm-hmm. I've never felt cold like that. Because where we are in England, we have the Gulf Stream, so it stays quite mild. Germany is not too bad, but this cold, I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's definitely frigid, I think is the right word.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you come to Canada in February, that's at least for where I Ottawa, Toronto, all these places that are close by. That time of year is the time of year where people don't want to leave their house because their eyelashes freeze.
Really?
If it's a really cold, windy day, absolutely, it can be very, very cold. But I don't know. I love the snow. I'm kind of
Did you snowboarding?
No, I think that's a terrible idea. I like skiing.
Skiing,
I tried to skateboard once. It did not go well. Okay. I think I made it about half a foot and fell over, so that was a no.
Okay.
How about you? Do you like sports or skateboarding or
football?
Snowboarding?
Well, soccer, as you know, my wife always wants to go skiing, but I'm like, first of all, it's so expensive. It's not cheap. It's expensive, and then it's expensive and it's cold.
Yeah, but I bet skiing in Germany or Switzerland would be mind. I can understand why it would be expensive. I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I haven't tried it yet, but maybe in the next, I don't know. I'll have to see. I don't know. She's still trying to convince me after 12 years, so we'll see. Maybe.
I hope you guys will go and do that. It's a lot of fun. Skiing's a lot of fun.
I do that, then I need to go back to America because in New Mexico, in Taos, New Mexico, they have some of the steepest slopes.
Oh yeah. So, that would be amazing. I've never been to New Mexico. I've been throughout the US a bunch of times, but New Mexico is apparently, a lot of people said, a super spiritual place. There's an energy there that is indescribable.
Yes, I would definitely agree. If you go to like Taos, these areas, Taos, and not Albuquerque. This area got an Indian reservation not too far away. I think that's all in Taos and a bit north. Cool. If you go down there, like I said, I saw a flying saucer there, and I just saw a light go behind it. I was like, it came down vertically and went behind the mountains. I was like, I don't know what would go down like that vertically. There's no.
Yeah. And New Mexico is a place known for UFO activity. I'm pretty sure in Nevada, I think as well.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
All right, I think I've taken enough of your time, but I want to get you back on though. I'm gonna get you back on. Yeah, I'm gonna get you back on. Maybe with my mom, man. Maybe she'll find you really interesting as well.
Sounds good.
Let's have a look. So I'm gonna give you the floor anyway, so you can promote where we can find you.
Sure. Yeah. So Facebook, I guess, would be the best place. So I'm Matthew Stapley, comma psychic medium, and then or like the @ Canadian psychic across social media. Every Monday at 7 p.m. I do free readings on my Facebook page through Facebook Live, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then I also I'm a host of a online radio show. Every day I help answer questions, just basic advice type questions on blasttheradio.com and the Milkman Show.
Yes, that's excellent, man. I'm gonna have to keep in touch with you, and if I get over to Canada, I'll be promising my family I'm coming back to Canada at some point. I'm coming.
You should.
I'm gonna try and head over to Ottawa too and come and buy you a drink. That's what I'm gonna do.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Actually, when I get my 100 million in 2 years, I'm gonna promise you that.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stapley. We'll catch
Thank
up, man.
you.
I'm gonna send you another invite.
Awesome.
Right.
It would be a pleasure.
Thank you, man. It was brilliant.
Thanks.
Bye,
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Mm-hmm.